Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game between Leon versus Labyrinth. This game taking place here on Rusty Creek 1.1. Labyrinth has spawned as the orange undead on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom left hand side, we have Leon spawning as the green human. Human versus undead in a 1v1 matchup. Looks like an old dead turtle if I look at the minimap closely enough. So yeah, this fall tile set, and just yeah, I think the fall tile set in general, or the different tile sets, make each of the new maps that have been created by the community that much more unique, as opposed to always playing on that green tile set or the city tile, like Terranistan, Twisted Meadows, Last Refuge, Amazonia. It because there's just so much green in general. It was difficult to figure out what maps were what if you were new to the game and weren't quite sure where everything was. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down in this matchup here. Leon opening things up with an Archmage on the bottom left-hand side of the map, going up against a Death Knight. Classic oldie but goodie of a strategy between these two players. We are looking at ghouls for an opening. The Tomb of Relics is coming into play. And as things get started, we'll see how these players try to adapt to each other and counter each other as things move forward. Now, we are looking at Footman being trained on out here. And is that Footman going to scout? It looks like he will. Hello. Good morning. Yeah. And I think this is the reason why I fast forward through the first 2 minutes of a game. Just trying to talk about what's going to happen here. It feels like I would be a bit of a broken record, as I've cast a fair number of human versus undead matchups. Seeing Archmage going up against a Death Knight, not too uncommon. So I don't think I have anything else to share other than, well, watch, wait, and see what happens as the Death Knight is moving out, already using up one rod of necromancy, and now going to a well, interesting location, going to try and clear out the creep camp here at the expansion spot. All right, there you are. There is Blight Acolyte already in play, as Labyrinth opening things up with a fast expansion. The Blight allowing the Acolyte to summon up a Ziggurat. Meanwhile, human Leon is already attempting to drop 2 water elementals, going to clear out the Centaur Sorcerer, not getting to level 2, just a little bit shy. That's a 5-3-3 creep camp, just shy there, and it now needs to clear a green creep camp or something in order to try and level up. Brilliance Aura absolutely important in this matchup, as the Archmage is now currently behind on mana. Is he going to try and put in pressure off on the other side of the map without actually using these water elementals to clear out these green creep camp, perhaps even just getting one of these sea turtle hatchlings here? All right, I consider that a bit of a mistake. Death Knight, now sitting at level 2, has also picked up a Wand of Lightning Shield, and Leon was trying to move forward. There is a giant feral pig getting caught in his way, and the expansion here, well, the Ziggurat is already upgrading to a Nerubian Tower. Blight is already down, and the Archmage does have enough to drop 1 water elemental. But if he was just, well, it looked like if he had actually delayed himself here. He is working so hard to try and shut it down, this expansion. And is the juice going to be worth the squeeze here, as we now see level 2 on that Archmage? Militia clearing perhaps a green creep camp somewhere else, or taking down a ghoul there. One Footman has been lost. Illusions are simply just wandering around, and now going every which way. But little does, if he forgets, the Archmage is now at level 2. Just attack the higher level Archmage and you are fine. Coming back around here, the Nerubian Tower is already up, and this expansion will be up and operational. Really, Leon did at most a little bit of a reset there, as we are now going into an arcane tower at this town hall. Both sides going in for an economic game. Archmage now trying to retreat back here. Archmage does have that Brilliance Aura for a bit of extra mana, as we're looking at the illusion still wandering around here. A Nerubian Tower shot could cause problems, and with how wide open this is, the Death Knight's movement speed bonus with that Unholy Aura, I do believe the Archmage is not going to be able to put down any additional pressure. With that said, it looks like Leon agrees with the same thing, opting now to go into a tech to tier 2. Meanwhile, LabyRinth is now being forced to train up more acolytes, further delaying his expansion now as more and more acolytes are making its way over. One poor footman trying to get away and trying to put in pressure, stop those acolytes from reaching their target, but will end up just heading back. Meanwhile, the Archmage is still in this pressure mode, trying to shut down all of these acolytes, and if he can shut down an acolyte or two, what he's really hoping to do is delay that tech to tier 2 and not have to deal with the obsidian statues and that lich that comes with tier 2. Meanwhile, with that said, we are getting up an arcane vault and a blacksmith at the expansion. Lumber mill down here. I'm actually surprised that it's being built here instead of off down here, as this would end up opening up the base quite a bit more. If you had built it down here, you can build your arcane sanctums inside here, and a little bit of better just SimCity planning overall. All right, another footman getting taken out there, Death Knight, and making its way around. We're looking at a water elemental about to get shut down here. LabyRinth should be taking the tier 2 now. It has been started. Graveyard now being placed down. This map is certified fresh. All right. Giant sea turtle will be taken down here. And Leon finally going into that creep mode, and now going to be picking up a mantle of intelligence +3, a little bit of bonus damage, a little bit of extra mana regeneration and mana capacity overall. Meanwhile, LabyRinth gets a lightning shield onto his ghoul, and that ghoul is just racking up quite a bit of damage. We're not quite sure why he even changed that positioning at all. There is another expansion coming in from LabyRinth here. This is a very gutsy, very aggressive expansion, as we see True Shot Aura now drop down. All right. In years past, if you told me that Undead would expand twice within the first 8 minutes of the game, I would have looked at you and say, are we talking about WarCraft 3? But with the changes to the overall meta, Undead now being much more aggressive, selling that Scroll of Town Portal for that first expansion, and now with the income from this new expansion, gonna set up and reinvest into further building his economy. All right, double expansion. However, well, the more money you make, the more taxes you have to pay, as your army is just that much more focused on getting that many harvesters out onto the battlefield. Giant sea turtle going to get taken down. Level 3 now on the Archmage there, plus 11 attack off of the Claws of Attack +5 and dual Mantles of Intelligence. Archmage now trapped into pretty much a corner there as he's trying to break free. A little bit of damage still racking up. Still continuing to put in that pressure. Is he going to run around here? Yes, he is. How much damage is he going to really try and dodge here? Footmen are there. Death Knight does not have enough mana. Footman could end up getting taken down. Water Elemental should be purposely being left behind there, perhaps trying to get in some body blocking, as we are looking at another beautiful body block by that Water Elemental, turning things back around. One round of attacks, and that Footman's life is saved. They're going to go ahead and regroup over here at the expansion. Did Leon catch sight of that new expansion? That is one of the big questions now, as we are going to be looking at full saturation onto this haunted gold mine with a Nerubian tower and a tomb of relics. This style of play, much more reminiscent of StarCraft 2, expanding towards your opponent and then being able to put in pressure in those moments. All right, Razor Main Brute going to get taken down here. True Shot Aura given once again. Archmage bringing over some healing here in just a bit. Might as well just join in on the battle, as it doesn't look like anyone's going to be leveling up anytime soon. All right, Scroll of Regeneration is in order. Does also have a potion of healing if things go sideways. Meanwhile, down to the south here, we are looking at, an illusion, just keeping track and keeping sight here as we are going into tier 3. No arcane sanctums. Instead, we are going into workshop and perhaps knights, as we are looking at double barracks and double double workshop. So it could be workshop knights in this engagement here, as we do see double crypt now getting added on once more. All right, Leon, to perhaps not suspecting that we are going to be looking at double crypt there. There is a Stormbolt. One Acolyte going to get taken down. Another Acolyte easily going to get taken down as well. Water Elementals are being dropped. Potion of Healing on that Archmage. Water Elemental is going to be turning back around. There's a giant Thunderclap there. Lich could easily get in a nice big burst of damage as the Archmage now pretty much retreating all the way back, trying to finish off as many Acolytes as possible. However, well, Death Coil, Frost Nova, not in time for the Scroll of Town Portal, and now this team that had an exit strategy with a Scroll of Town Portal has fallen. Mountain King is in some serious trouble now, as we see the Nerubian Tower starting to fight back. Mountain King may end up getting lost as well, and well, Leon making a grave and critical mistake, as all he really did was well, he really didn't do all that much. Since LabyRinth still had a necropolis down to the south here, he's still able to train up more acolytes and transfer them over to the main base. All right, Leon not playing at the highest possible level right now. We can see another necropolis being built in the very center portion of the map. Actually, no, on the far side, pushing Leon. LabyRinth, well, actually having 16, 17 workers out on the battlefield. This is something very rare something very, very rare for Undead to actually have this many acolytes out onto the battlefield here. LabyRinth is just, well, building up his economy, and in the end, I think he is just going to be in such a great position to take this game by slowly just taking all of the map and then slowly push out against his opponent. Leon, however, does have a very large army, 74 over 84 right now, and when he brings it out, it may cause quite a bit of a scare. All right, Animal War training, mortar teams getting thrown in as well, and well, mortar teams do a great job taking out all of those buildings. All right, is this going to be well, is this going to be a situation, what, 3 base cancellation of that necropolis there, siege engines, knights, 1-1 war training, no, canceled and then resummoned this right here, and we are looking at now into high upkeep. No, Leon breaking back from high upkeep as he's going to go ahead and venture on forward. We see also a Crypt Lord in the center portion of the map. Here we are clearing out some more difficult creep camps. Dual Wand of Mana Stealings on the Death Knight. If those were potions of invulnerability, this game would be drastically different, as we are now looking at this forward expansion about to get taken out. Some gold is being mined away. We are looking at the Necropolis, the Scroll of Town Portal inbound, and here we are trapping some of those units already. Nerubian Towers, Ziggurats, mortar teams trying to finish things off. There goes a quick impale as Frost Nova also slowing down many of those mortar teams here. Obsidian statues are nearby. There is some repairs underway. Is it going to be enough to finish or save the... Nope, it is not, as the siege engines were there with that fortified, or with that siege damage against that fortified armor. Acolytes need to be repairing more. 79 supply compared to 64. Leon, during this entire time, has been building a very large size army. As the Death Knight, it could be in trouble as the Death Knight falls. As I mentioned, he had 2 wands of mana stealing, no greater potions of healing or potions of invulnerability. And Leon now pushing his opponent and getting him to shut down one of his expansions as well. All right, the economic advantage that LabyRinth was trying to build on, it just was not enough. He wasn't able to get enough gold out of the ground and convert it into units onto the battlefield, as Leon now sits with a very comfortable supply advantage. 4 base versus 3 base Brood War style. Human with the damage spike suddenly, yeah. Really quite surprised with the human damage, how strong the human army was overall. Here we are looking at LabyRinth trying to re-establish this base here. The Necropolis, well, the Necropolis quickly going to be saved as knights are being brought out here onto the battlefield. All right, Archmage level 3, Mountain King level 3, Death Knight at level 5, Lich at level 3, and well, the Crypt Lord at level 1. Now, there's a big death coil there, but I believe Orb of Fire greatly reducing the amount of healing from that 600 hit point there. Wand of Mana Stealing still has plenty of charges here. Unholy Aura on LabyRinth. That item needs to be sold. Death Coil, Frost Nova, Archmage get taken down. No big surprises there, as the Death Knight and the Lich are both sitting at level 5, level 3. Units are now looking to retreat back. However, the Sundering Blades on those Knights dealing bonus damage to those Crypt Fiends are really eating through them, as well as we're looking at the Destroyers trying to finish off some of these other targets. Death Knight is going to be able to finish off, perhaps get a Death Coil off or Death Frost Nova off onto any of these other targets there, as Flying Machines are now out here onto the battlefield. Oh, Archmage gets taken down for the second time in 2 minutes, as the Lich now looking to finish off, perhaps taking down a Destroyer or two. All right. Or Flying Machine or two. All right, Destroyer should just turn back around and attack some of those Flying Machines. That would actually work out well in even numbers. The Destroyer actually wins out in the battle pretty easily, especially if those Destroyers have mana. Lich is right there. There's negative armor once more, getting in a little bit more damage, as we are looking at the siege engines once again putting pressure against LabyRinth's base. We are looking at plenty of healing here. The Nerubian Tower with that slower attack perhaps needed to switch between attacking one and the other to regenerate a bit more hit points. LabyRinth needs an Acolyte off of the gold mine to try and repair. Meanwhile, Leon continuing to put in pressure. There goes another Knight there, and it looks as though LabyRinth is going to get to level 6 on his Death Knight extremely quickly. Holy Light right there, giant thunderclap, as the Mountain King now in a bit of trouble, completely surrounded. Staff of Sanctuary saves him, as we could be looking at more damage still racking up. Lich now trying to chase back over, has Boots of Speed, trying to close in on that distance, perhaps getting in a Frost Nova, a little bit of extra damage there. All right, Lich trying to catch up to the army here. Are we seeing a Potion of Healing adding in a little bit of damage? Ghouls are now trying to swarm as well. Big Frost Nova damage, as you see Potion of Lesser Invulnerability used in time. Lich coming back around, could try and engage and attack. Flying Machines looking to go after the Destroyers. Death Knight shows up to the party. Lich is here trying to focus down those Flying Machines, as the Knights are continuing the battle here. Plenty of Flying Machines giving coverage, as the Destroyers are purposely splitting apart, getting level 6 to the Death Knight. Level 6 Death Knight normally, animate dead as that ultimate ability, and perhaps with Knights on the battlefield, Leon would end up having to fight animate dead Knights here in just a moment. Destroyer finishes off a Flying Machine there. Both sides continuing to fight. Death Knight no longer having that much mana. Are we going to see a surround there? There's level 5 now on that Lich. Obsidian Statue can continue to provide much more mana, and well, that is an extremely scary combination. Level 3 Death Coil, level 3 Frost Nova, as the Lich, or as the Death Knight looks to retreat back. Death Knight with Ring of Regeneration, Orb of Fire, also removing a lot of the healing as well, and all of that healing greatly reduced, but you can see that Death Knight is regenerating so much hit points per second, even though he is still off of Blight, getting, I would believe, close to 5 or 6 hit points a second right now, and now picking up a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Game still going back and forth. Destroyers trying to finish down Flying Machines. Destroyers purposely splitting them up. Death Knight now shows up to the party. There's a Death Coil for the heal there. Brings a Scroll of Healing. Crypt Lord falls at level 1, as Ghouls are now getting taken down, and units are falling left and right here. Flying Machines finding those Destroyer targets, and really it's been the Orb of Fire that has allowed Leon to continue with all of these pushes, as LabyRinth's Death Knight's Death Coil is not providing as much healing as it once has previously. Three bases versus 3 bases. Main gold mines only have about 3 minutes of mining left, 3 to 4 minutes of mining left. Death Knight now engaging in that frontline spot, has that Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Footmen are trying to chase after here. Death Knight now looking to back away. There's a Death Coil onto the Mountain King. Mountain King using a Potion of Healing there, as both sides are still fighting their way through. Where is the Lich? Crypt Lord coming back around. Staff of Sanctuary saves the Mountain King, as 2 level 4 heroes are here left now. Lich still singing at level 5. Death Knight wants to venture forth. Frost Armor, Death Coil, and Frost Nova onto the Paladin, and now suddenly the Archmage could be in trouble, being forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal to get away. Knights finding the rest of those targets, and all of those units are now retreating back. LabyRinth sitting at 50 over 80 supply. Leon sitting at 63 over 96. He has the supply advantage, but the hero level advantage definitely belongs to LabyRinth. LabyRinth now making his way off to the north here, attempting to perhaps clear out the Berserk Wildkin creep camp and Frost Armor. There's a giant stun to go around. Death Knight could come in with a couple of death coils to try and heal up some of these units. There's another giant stomp there as ghouls are slowly getting cleared up. Lich now gonna back away. Death Knight gonna purposely back away, allowing that Crypt Lord to generate get the majority of the experience here, or the Crypt Lord just takes quite a bit of damage actually, as we're looking at the units trying to finish off the Berserk Wildkin. Is it gonna finally get taken down? There it goes, but gonna pick up the Medallion of Courage and now back away. The Crypt Lord very close now to level 3, but at what cost? Losing a large number of ghouls. Leon, knights and flying machines, absolutely no priest whatsoever. Priests, this style of play really focuses on the hardier units of the human army, making them, well, not so weak to to Death Coil and Frost Nova. Frost Nova not allowing any hits on those mechanical units. Now, that does mean that your heroes tend to fall apart much more quickly since you don't have access to priest and healing. Meanwhile, we are looking at siege engines rolling on out again. 0-3 upgrades there, and now gonna go straight after those acolytes. Flying machines looking to take down the destroyers, and without any breath of fire, well, this could just go sideways pretty fast. One flying machine about to get taken down. Meanwhile, the knights have pretty much already finished things off and now gone to bombarding the haunted goldmine. Ghouls now trying to make their way over here as well. Are we gonna see, well, in comes an impale and now a scroll of town portal in order to get away. Big damage there. How many knights are going to get taken out? Only, wow, one very low hit point knight able to escape, down to 4 hit points and able to survive. Siege engine once again putting pressure onto the Nerubian tower off to the side here. You can see the auto attack is, the speed is now much slower as the acolytes are forced to try and repair. Siege engines do not have anti-air attack here. That cluster rockets, as this siege engine will be destroyed. Crypt Lord already sitting at level 3 with level 2 impale. And, well, undead, all you need are heroes apparently to try and win your game. Can Staff of Sanctuary heal mechanical unit? Human is back in this. You can Staff of Sanctuary. Yeah, you can staff. You can staff siege engines. Anyways, pushing on through. Leon now sitting on level 2, level 3. Leon has always had the supply advantage. Meanwhile, Labyrinth has always had the level advantage on these units. But at some point, the units do make a difference. Fly machines are going to start to, well, pick off all of these buildings. Scroll of Town Portal being brought back in, 65 supply compared to 80. As the army sizes are about the same. And we see now a Nerubian tower, Staff of Sanctuary saving that knight right there as the destroyers want to move on out. Remember, we do have significant upgrades for Leon's army over Labyrinth as the units are still wandering around here. Knights going after the Troll High Priest, and this is an interesting spot that Leon is in. Leon is still benefiting from creeping, and he could actually get to level 5 on the Archmage. Not quite sure why that Archmage isn't just a little bit closer to get there. He is 3 experience shy, as the Mountain King and the Paladin both pick up a little bit more experience again. Coming back through, anti-magic shell being picked up by the Banshee, but without, well, it's really the casters there, or the missing casters, which is allowing Leon to play the style of game he wants to right now. He does have Staff of Sanctuary. Perhaps having more than one Staff of Sanctuary might be a better call, as well, these knights, once they get focused down a little bit, they do want to be saved. Mortar teams, however, well, they are just going to be instantly Frost Nova'd and or Death Coiled once they take any point or any little bit of damage. Leon now getting surrounded on that siege engine. Are we going to see a Staff of Sanctuary right there? Yes, we are. That's going to teleport it back home and get it back into the action temporarily. All right, coming back down to the south. Here we are. There's the engagement. Death Coil, no, Stormbolt followed by Holy Light right there. A quick impale. Flying Machine continuing the fighting battle as we're looking at the units fighting in the back here. All right, Flying Machines trying to take down the Destroyers. Destroyers, are they going to be able to focus down any of these Flying Machines in time? That is the question. There's a little bit of healing as the Lich now going after those Flying Machines in the back. 85 supply compared to 52. Leon's army is just that much larger and continuing to push on through as the Death Knight, well, perhaps should have used the level 3 Unholy Aura and as he not used Animate Dead as of yet. All right, Potion of Invulnerability now used by the Death Knight here, continuing to battle things up. Are we going to see some possession to try and take back these knights? That is the question there. Banshees do have possession as the units are now retreating back once more. Possession perhaps is going to be the key. LabyRinth does have a knight there, and after all this, well, now having to deal with possession, that could perhaps be a bit too much. Stormbolt onto the Banshee. However, Banshee not getting taken down there. Mortar teams quickly focusing down that one Banshee, wanting to protect those knights from possession, only to see the mortar team actually get a bit burst down as well. 77 supply compared to 56. Holy Light saving that knight right there. Mortar team's getting a burst down again as the Death Knight is still surrounded here. Death Knight could use Animate Dead here. There's enough mortar teams and other units out here onto the battlefield that could actually perhaps cause a bit of problems as we're looking at a quick impale right there. Lich does have a little bit of problems right there. There's a Death Coil saving right there as well. And we're still looking at trying to find their way through. Mountain King able to end up surviving. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight still has plenty of mana here as damage is still racking back up. Mountain King, where is it going? Destroyer's now looking to retreat back and turn back around, get some damage onto those Flying Machines, and now, well, Lich instead taking a blast of Holy Light. Lich with 900 hit points and some pretty decent damage as well. Strength and intelligence on that Lich, 900 hit points and 390 mana. Has heroes and statues. That's all you need. Hero statues and, well, high-level heroes, and that's all the undead really needs overall. Well, now coming back around, we are still looking at 2-base play going up against, well, nope, 3-base play. LabyRinth has already set up a ninja expansion there that, well, I lost track of. Maybe his opponent lost track of as well, but it has not been operational for very long, maybe about a minute. Dark Ritual on that Lich as well. The Lich has plenty of mana to go for. Banshees now continuing to make their way out onto the battlefield, and this is the problem. Leon, well, had a really strong push using the Knights, using the Flying Machines, but once there's too many Knights out here onto the battlefield, well, the Banshees can take those Knights for themselves fairly quickly. The Mountain King is then forced to try and take out the Banshees before the possession can take hold. And then the mortar teams need to dive in a little bit further to get within range of the Banshees, only to be blasted by the Frost Nova and the Death Coil of the Lich and Death Knight. Also, the Crypt Lord could come in for a quick impale as well, as we're looking at another Acolyte trying to retreat back. Undead heroes and items, so much power, yeah. All right, Flying Machines now making their way over. Are we going to actually see more? No real level up. Paladin, if it does get to level 3 or level 3 Holy Light, that does change the game significantly. Archmage actually taking a bit of the experience there, as all of units are now trying to retreat back. As Siege Engine scouts out the additional expansion here, that means we do need to see one Nerubian tower here, at least for that slowing effect, as more and more Banshees are out here onto the battlefield again. Leon has had the supply lead for so long, but that could easily change as the Lich, all of the Banshees nearby are ready with plenty of mana for possession. All right, here we go. Flying Machine's going to be going after those targets there. No Breath of Fire or any AoE to try and blow those Flying Machines out of the sky as they are now retreating back once again. All right, it looks like all 4 bases are going to be at least a mined or have some sort of mining building next to them, as we are 28 minutes into this game and still, well, no clear-cut winner yet. Flying Machines now making their way off to the north. Undead Army making its way off to the south. It looks like it is just going to be a cancellation of the bases here, as the armies are just going to be far too large. Unsummoning the buildings as they retreat back out. 1,500 gold pulled from there as a big Frost Nova. All of these ghouls are going to get taken down. Dark Rituals galore as the Lich, trying to get back up to full mana. Acolyte down to the south here, going to try and reestablish up a base. Meanwhile, in the center portion, 10 minutes of mining going up against, well, what is that, 12 minutes of mining? 12 and a half minutes of mining. Still plenty of mining left as the natural expansions have now been cleared out as well. Forward bases only. Flying machines, well, going to go ahead and burst down a bunch of damage onto the destroyers. Knights are in position here. A possession could be in order. Are we going to see some possession? Banshee's now trying to retreat back, and here we are going into that engagement. Flying machines getting destroyed pretty quickly. Level 6 now on that Lich as both sides are fighting their way through. Staff of Sanctuary trying to stop right there. Banshees have anti-magic shell, but they are getting stunned down, and the mortar teams in the back is really what's causing the problems here. But a second Frost Nova takes down all three mortar teams. And now Banshees are still surviving, at least temporarily, with their anti-magic shell. Mortar teams continuing to fight back here. 61 supply compared to 44. All you need are heroes for the undead, as we're looking at Death Coil. Frost Nova continuing to go back around. Death Knight should be using Animate Dead at some point. He has the ultimate ability and has not, I do not believe, used it once. More Impales as we are looking at more damage racking on up. Holy Light continuing to try and save. Lich still has anti-magic, so there goes another Knight right there, and there's the Animate Dead to turn the tide. Knights back out here onto the battlefield. Mortar teams able to deal damage as well. Lich gets a Death Coil for the save, as the mortar teams could still rack up more damage. Death Knight now continuing to try and push. Staff of Sanctuary saves him. But now what's going to save the Archmage? Archmage has a Scroll of Town Portal, but he's going to be impaled and stunned down. The Knights, the Knights in living or in death still seem to be working out well. Mortar teams, how exactly did that work out there? How did he deny, did he Dark Ritual a Knight here? Because Animate Dead makes invulnerable units, so did the Lich actually Dark Ritual? Maybe. All right, so Animate Dead actually becoming the deciding factor in this game here. There were a handful of Knights and a handful of mortar teams out on the battlefield, making that Animate Dead the ultimate, actually fairly useful. Leon, who largely had the supply advantage throughout the majority of the game, just kind of falling apart there at the end. We saw the threat of Banshees possessing those Knights, and because we saw the threat of those Banshees possessing those Knights, so much attention, including mine, was focused on clearing out those Banshees. An additional thing to note, because the mortar teams were destroying Banshees, their corpses were not available on the battlefield for that Animate Dead, so that's just another important thing to note. Overall, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys got to this point of the video, please, on YouTube, please remember to give a thumbs up, like it, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and let me know if this game should be recommended. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.